Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad to see you here today. I was not planning on making this video. I was not planning on doing like a solo video just for this book, but it deserves it. So that's what I'm doing today. I will be talking all about Lovely War by Julie Berry. I bought this a while ago. Like, I've heard about it for a while now, and I just put off reading it because it was kind of long and I had like shorter books on my TBR that I wanted to read too, so I just kept picking those up. And then finally I was like, you know what? I haven't read a good historical fiction in a long time, so I decided to pick her up, and I cannot put her down. I read this in like 2 days. I was not expecting it, but it was so good. It just flowed. Oh my goodness. So obviously gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. One of the best books I've read all year. When I heard other people talk about it, it was kind of confusing, and so I wanted to sit down and really like try and give a good clear outline of like what is happening, because it's a lot, and kind of just like give my opinions about it and stuff, and you know, do a little review on it. So that's what I'm doing. This is a love story when you get down to it. We follow two different couples during World War I, which is a little bit different. I haven't read that many World War I historical fictions. So we follow James, who is on leave, like he's about to leave to go off to war, and he meets this lovely lady named Hazel at like a dinner party. And Hazel is not one to like fall in love quickly, like that's not her thing. But they instantly hit it off and like fall in love after like this one night together, right? But he's like, I'm leaving in a week to go fight in the trenches. So not looking great for him. He goes off to war, and she decides to join the YMCA and kind of help, not quite on the front lines, but like help feed people and do all the things kind of a little bit further out from like the fighting zones. So they try, you know, mailing letters back and forth and just try and keep that love alive. And so that's kind of their love story. And then we follow this African American guy named Aubrey, and he grows up in Harlem. Oh my gosh, can I even remember where they're all from? Hazel is French, I believe, and James he's British. Okay. He like really liked architecture and wanted to do that, but then of course he got called away to war. So that's James. Anyways, and then yeah, Hazel's French. Aubrey is from Harlem, and he plays the piano. So there's like this group of men that are like musicians that kind of go around to each kind of station where soldiers are and perform for them, I guess, to kind of like keep up the spirits and stuff. But eventually like they do fight themselves, like they go off to war. So that's kind of Aubrey's story, and of course he's African American, and so this is of course racism is huge at this time as well, and so he's just facing a lot of obstacles, not only, you know, fighting the enemy, but fighting people within the same side that are just racist. He finds this girl, Colette, who is Belgian. See, there's a lot going on here, which is why I kind of wanted to go over everything, because I feel like it'll kind of help once you decide to read this, because you are going to decide to read this, to just keep everything kind of in line. But Colette is Belgian. She has a really hard story. Like, her whole family was murdered by the Germans, and again she joins the YMCA and decides to like help fight, and so that's how Hazel and Colette kind of meet. But one day Hazel and Aubrey meet because I don't know how they met. Well, he was like playing the piano or something, and then Colette comes in and sees Aubrey, and they fall in love, and she's like a really good singer, he's a good piano player. They kind of make a great team. But Colette is white and Aubrey is black, and so they have a lot of obstacles in that by itself, like without World War I in the way. That's kind of the four main characters and kind of their love stories, and there's so much depth there and just so many details that goes on that I can't even begin to begin. So those are who you're reading about. But the book does not start off that way. It starts out with the gods and goddesses, mainly Aphrodite, and then we have Apollo and Ares, and Hades comes in there, And then there's the H one that I literally can never I can never pronounce, or like when I saw his name I just like immediately glazed over it. I'll put it on the screen like what his name is, what god he is. So it's like 30 years after all this love story happens. Aphrodite gets caught cheating on the H god with Ares, and so they're kind of put on trial on like Mount Olympus or something, and she has to like defend what she does because Aphrodite is like the goddess of love. So she's like, listen y'all, I got 2 really good love stories that I'm gonna tell you about. And so she goes on this whole spiel. And then we have Ares, who narrates a lot of it. He is the god of war, and so he narrates more of like James's chapters because he's the one in war, whereas Aphrodite kind of talks about the ladies more. And then Apollo narrates a lot of the story because he's the god of like arts or something, so he talks a lot about Aubrey because he's, you know, artsy and musically talented. So oh my god, doesn't that sound like incredible? But every now and again it'll like cut into, it kind of like breaks the third wall and it talks about like the gods talking to each other, the gods being like, hold on Aphrodite, what did you say about their love story? It's just such an amazing concept. It sounds strange, but like it works so well together. Oh my god, you're crying at the end. The gods are all like, Aphrodite, you made me cry. Like, it's incredible. And it was just so interesting reading about World War I because I'm not that knowledgeable about it, and I just loved all the different, like, you have a British person, someone from Harlem, someone from Belgium, someone from France, and throwing in the gods there, which I was a little nervous about because I am not knowledgeable at all about the gods, but you really don't need a background. It's very much unlike Circe by Madeline Miller, I think, wrote it. That I was completely lost because I didn't know anything, but this one you really don't need to know anything. You literally just have to know like Aphrodite, goddess of love, Ares, god of war. Hades comes in, who's like death. He has a few chapters that he narrates. There's an airplane. I hope you can't hear it. Anyways, he narrates a few chapters, like the sad chapters obviously, where like death occurs, so you kind of know what's coming when you see who's narrating. Because if it's like Aphrodite, you're like, oh, this is gonna be about Colette and Hazel, and if it's about Apollo, if Apollo's narrating, it's about Aubrey. So I loved that aspect because it kind of helped me realize what was going on and like keep up with the story. Julia Barry is such a good storyteller. There were just so many layers. I was astounded. Historical fiction is so good. It's definitely like my favorite type of novel because it's just amazing. Anyways, I could ramble on about this for forever. You're gonna cry, so be warned. And yeah, if you have this on your TBR and it's just like daunting you, please pick it up and read it. It will not take you that long to read at all, I promise. And please let me know what you guys think of this. I would love to know. Please, no spoilers. And each chapter also has like the date, because that's my pet peeve when there's like too much going on and you can't remember timings and everything. But this book helped you with that. It was like Julie Berry knew there was a lot going on, so she's like, all right, I'll put the dates and stuff in. So love that. So kind, so thoughtful. I mean, it's not all about romance. Like, if you don't like romance, you can still love this book. Like, it's still about war and racism and lots of things, basically. You got some gods and goddesses in there. It's just everything rolled into one book, and it's incredible. 5 out of 5. Honestly, one of the best reads of 2020 for me. Highly recommend. Get it in, you know, by the end of the year. Maybe you'll have a new favorite book of 2020. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Who knows if it was helpful, but I knew when I started this book, I was like, I actually have no idea what's going on and like what this book is about. So I wish I kind of knew a little bit. Ugh, love her work. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.